Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning into the Storytelling Alchemist show here every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I have an amazing show tonight. I have three wonderful ladies that I've gotten to know a couple over the past few months, and another one I've known for several years. But we're calling this tonight Empowered Women and Women Leaders. And so I'm going to bring them on the line here just in a second. But I'm going to be bringing on Goldie, Daniela, and Dr. Natalie Forrest. And I think you guys are going to just think they're just incredible people, just like I do. And it'll be an interesting conversation. So let me go ahead and bring them on. Hello, Dr. Forrest.
Hello.
Daniela. And hello, Goldie. How is everybody doing tonight?
Hello.
Good.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So I was thinking about that. I was going to say, how is the weather? But everybody's probably got decent weather around the country right now.
Don't you love it?
Finally.
So I guess I want to just throw this question out there to kind of start off with. And because I wanted to make it kind of about leadership, but also about how we got where we're at today. And I know everybody has a bit of a story to where they're at. But I guess I'll throw the first question out is like, how do you define a leader, especially just a leader in general? How do you define a leader and what that looks like in the scope of the world today? And I guess we'll start.
I'll go. Exhausted. That's how I describe a leader. Exhausted, right, Ms. Dr. Forrest?
No, we're never exhausted. That's the whole point. We're such leaders, we're never exhausted, at least not in public, right?
That's so kind of you to introduce us all like that, Jeremy. And I think like that reinforces. I can't hear because I live by a biker bar, so I apologize that maybe you can hear us revving in the background. But just being a leader is trying to do the right thing, even when it's exhausting or you're tired, or you just know like I'm supposed to be helping here, and you look around and you see that maybe other people aren't stepping up to the plate, and it's just sort of, it's your job. And that's Natalie or Daniela or you, Jeremy. It's just, you just have something inside of you.
Whoa.
I love that.
You have something inside of you that you know that you need to be assertive and help where you can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And Dr. Forrest, how would you describe a leader?
Well, I think Goldie is, as usual, right on target with it. It's, whether you say it's doing the right thing, it's something that we see and we can do, because I'm just going to make an assumption about Daniela because I am somewhat intuitive. We're all servant leaders, right? And as servant leaders, we're nurturers. So that means, and that's like sometimes can be a downfall, but it means that, as Goldie said, when we see something, we want to take care of it. We want to help somebody else. Goldie does such an amazing job with songs where she addresses important issues in songs, and she does a whole lot more than that. So she can talk a lot about that. But there is like, you see there's something that needs to be done and you shed light on it, or you just do it without anybody noticing. It doesn't matter. You're not doing it for the limelight, right?
No, that's a really good point, Dr. Forrest. And you just said something so kind again. Thank you. Like through the music last night, we reissued a song from last year. It was supposed to come out on Easter, but due to the COVID, it didn't. And I thought, well, it's on somebody else's channel premiered from last year. We'll put it on ours. And it got flagged and it got banned. And I lost my shiznit because it got banned for nudity and violence. And it was a PSA for mental health and suicide prevention. And I got so angry because here I am over on TikTok, which is a platform for children, and you put up a picture and the suggested song is the popular song of the night is explanatory. I can't get into it. And I'm thinking, that's okay. Or for little girls to be singing about their WAP at 6, 7, that's fine. And I can't do something to try and help. And the point that I wanted to make is you just become so frustrated and so alone, but because you're the leader. You just have to chalk it up and like basically you 4 or 3 are the only ones I'm going to say this to, and then I'm done. Like that's my vent. I can't get on social media or say a whole bunch of stuff here and there. I can, but you kind of have to walk a lonely path, and whether you ask for that path or not, you feel responsible and like you can do it, and we do. And shows like this is great because then you can see 3 other leaders, and then you don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I chime in real quick? I know Daniela also has something, but I saw part of that video. I didn't see all of it because it was somehow on where I saw it was like in 3 parts. It was on your Instagram, I think. I think that's where I saw it. I thought it was amazing, and it's always funny. There are sometimes people get flagged for a song. Like I remember that issue with Garth Brooks like years ago. The Thunder Rolls. Everybody got upset. He got banned for it. But I think it was Martina McBride singing something very similar, and nobody flagged her. So there's like really interesting issues coming up. Yes.
But I wanted to thank both of the input from you lovely ladies. Really spot on. Goldie, you kind of hit a nerve. It's funny. I thought it was great the way that you opened this up. I really loved it because it brought different things to light, in memory that when you proved it to yourself. Because I think you said something, we probably didn't choose this role. It happens. Do you know what I mean? And I know that I've been in situations, and I make a joke out of it. I would have gladly watched somebody else step up and take care of it. And when you look around, nobody is. And I personally find it involuntarily. I react, like I take care of business, like whatever it is. There was one time where there was even a possible shooter, and I was on a school campus, and I really should have been the last person in that position. And when I noticed that there was no other adult at the time that was going to take care of that, and that's a position I've been in over and over again in my life. So it's never anything I campaigned for, but it just seems like you're a natural born leader. But I also love when Goldie said that I personally find it, as you try to come here to make the world a better place, right? Bring in more light, more love, work on yourself. I find the more that we work on ourselves, it can be a lonely path, like you just said. I mean, I don't know if you others have been feeling that lately, but when you do deep internal work to be of service, not a hell of a lot of people on board.
Well, and do you think that brings me to the next question? Do you think that sometimes that is the path of the leader? I mean, like I imagine, we don't have to go in depth at this, but I imagine all 3 of you have gone through hard times at parts of your life, and as a result of that, it's made you stronger inside, and even those lonely times where it's hard, because of what you've experienced and built up to this point, it's easier for you to go through it than it is for another person. And that's why people, look to you, because of the strength that you guys have inside of yourself. Do you think that has a play in it, because of the work you've done to this point?
Can I ask a question? Did he actually say it's easier for us to go?
Well, I mean, I know for me, like, I will just throw that out there. Like the work that I've done. I mean, if I would have done it 15 years ago and gone through the things that I've gone through now, I'd have probably been a complete basket case on medications and, doing at least a full bong 6 or 7 times a night, that kind of stuff to get through the stress, a whole bottle of vodka and everything else. It would have been a whole lot different 15, 16 years ago than it is now. And what I'm saying is that you have a stronger foundation as opposed to what you might have had previously.
I wanted to say something really quickly, but I don't want to stop. Daniela, were you talking? Couldn't hear you.
No, that wasn't me.
Just like a comparison or a metaphor. have you ever, because I've done this, and I think that a lot of people want to think that they're leaders, just like everybody wants to be an influencer, everybody wants their space on social media. I think a lot of people want to say they're leaders, no different than that person that gets dressed up to go to the gym with their stuff and they take a picture and I'm at the gym, and then I've done it. I leave 3 minutes, 4 minutes later. It's like, well, everybody thinks I'm here, and I've kind of faked it and convinced myself that I actually went, even though I didn't really do a full hour, or if I stayed, I was on the phone. Or I think there's a lot of fake leaders where they want you to think that they're leading, but when it comes right down to the dirty nitty gritty, and you don't really want to do all that. And a true leader will do it even if nobody sees it, like with the gun situation, or Dr. Forrest, all of the things that you do behind the scenes, or Jeremy with your work and service. And that to me is a true leader. And a friend of mine plays with Bret Michaels. He's in Bret Michaels' band, Pete Evick, and we were just talking, and I got a quote from him for the chapter in the Los Angeles Tribune book that we're doing, Dr. Forrest. And, he just said that he and Bret constantly go back and forth about just what alone. I'm not trying to be like drab or like Debbie Downer, but it is very a lonely space, because if you are leading, that's just not a path for a lot of people, because it sucks half the time. Like, you don't choose it. And I bet if you guys were to all pinpoint, for me, I can think of it started when I was a little kid on the playground, seeing other kids being bullied and picked on, and hey, that's not right. And nobody's told you to do that. Maybe your parents said something, but it's something that you feel inside where that person doesn't have a voice. They're vulnerable. They're being hurt. I'd better step in. And I wish more people in life would do that, even on social media, like step in. At least don't talk crap about somebody. But when you see somebody being hurt, say something in their defense, especially if they're not there. I think that's how it starts for a lot of people.
I would agree with Goldie.
Yeah, I agree with Goldie. Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm wondering about the term lonely, because to me, and number one, I never feel lonely, even when I'm like all alone in the forest, right? No pun intended. I just realized that. But I don't ever feel lonely in that sense. And at the same time, we're walking a path. All of us do. All four of us do. That nobody's ever gone before, and therefore it may at times feel lonely to some. And it is absolutely true that there are not necessarily a lot of people who have our back when we do this stuff. There are a lot more people who try to put more stones on the way and more hurdles up, right? And at the same time, again, I'm like doing this little circle thing. It is because of who we are. It is because we're the ones who have, in my opinion, chosen to learn all these lessons, right? So we just like woke up one day and say, okay, I'll do it, sure thing. And, more and more keeps being thrown at us because we can handle it. And at the same time, I also think that it is crucial to find like-minded servant leaders who don't need the spotlight. Like Daniela and Goldie, and of course you, Jeremy. I'm just looking at the ladies right now, okay? Because we can do this even if nobody's watching, as both Daniela and Goldie said. It's not about that, and in that sometimes even us, I think, like to hear "thank you" or "I couldn't believe that you really did that. That was awesome." From somebody outside of ourselves. Every now and then we like that as well, I believe. And so, then it's nice to have like-minded leaders who are not competitive, who are not wondering, well, what's your agenda? And there are people out there like that. Danielle and Goldie are two of them. There are more out there, women and men. And it's just a matter of finding them. And that sometimes can be challenging.
Perfectly.
I'll leave it at that.
Good job.
Challenging, yeah.
I think in the world right now too, it's like there's so much going on. And one of the things that Goldie said earlier, especially about social media, there's a lot of anger, just a lot of meanness in anger, and I see it all over the place. I see people that are unwilling to listen, that are only wanting to, how do I say it, hear themselves, I guess, as opposed to listening. And I believe in the saying, we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because we're supposed to do more listening than we are talking, even though we're on a talk show right now. So, but really what that comes down to is that I even on social media, there was I'm part of this group that's just a group to be sarcastic and just be silly, I guess is the best way to put it. And I've been finding lately that's turned into just being mean. And I'm like, that's not what comedy is about. It's not about being mean. And so I agree with you, Goldie, that leadership comes with, if you want to be compassionate, then be compassionate. If you want to be kind, then be kind. And if you want to stand up for injustice, then legitimately do it. There's what we call armchair or lazy boy activists these days that sit in their lazy boy and they say things on Facebook, but it really doesn't do anything.
Well, there's so many people that have like, this is my cause and I'm going to post about it and I'm going to be really crappy to everybody. And then you see them in line at Walgreens or at the store. And I'm like, who are you? Like, you're not walking the walk. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like I'd much rather you just be silent on social media and then just be a good person. Like, again, it goes back to like the fake leader. Like, are you or aren't you? Are you going to step up and do what's right? Or really, like, if you're going to help somebody, then, and it sucks because I want to help everybody. And I think, don't be jaded, and I can't tell you how many women I'm like, you need to get out of there. I've got a huge vehicle. Tell me the day. When is he gone or when is she gone? And I'll show up. And I do. And I've been doing it for years. And you get all their shit out of there and you get it packed and you help them with a deposit on a new place and yada, yada. And what happens 2 weeks later? The guy's over at the new place, but the leader in me is going to still try the next time because that person's story is not that person's story. And it's being a leader, I think, is not becoming jaded, and giving people the benefit of the doubt. And the true essence of helping and leading is to take each case new and as it is and move forward and not just live in the past or this happened to me. Proceed with caution, Danielle. I'm not being stupid.
No. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
thank you for your service, Goldie.
Well, it's no big deal. Sheila Phillips.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a big
It
deal.
is a big deal. It is a big deal.
Goldie, we all need to learn to say thank you. It took me a long time. I see you in headlights. If somebody said something nice to me, I didn't know how to respond. But no, thank you. And don't worry about just my philosophy. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? I feel like in that situation, not as involved in, that's a very special thing that you're doing. But I feel like when I am moved in my heart to help somebody, I think it's just that moment, and I don't look past that moment because it's none of my damn business.
You're right.
So thank you so much for doing that, Goldie. I was in that position, so I greatly appreciate you helping others. Thank you.
I wish that on nobody, and I'm sorry you had to go through that.
No. It let me learn how strong I was. Remember, he wanted us to share things. People are always surprised what I'll share. But honestly, I feel like every experience that I've ever had in my life, I know that sounds drastic, but I know it's not for me, not just for me, because I've been able to help the people, the women a lot, but men too, that have had those similar experiences because there is no shame. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's the stuff that keeps you down. So no, that's really cool. Both, I love you, ladies. And I want, if you could, Goldie, I don't know if you can share that song with me. If Jeremy can give you my information.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share with. I actually watched the video. What is it, yesterday? And I didn't realize it was taken down. To be quite honest with you,
it wasn't taken down. They flagged it and made me change the thumbnail, so at least they didn't take it down, and I appreciate that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of really good people were in that. A lot of great leaders were in that, and And I didn't tonight. I didn't know what we were talking about. I didn't know what's cooking. Just show up and bring your A game. And I'm in my drawers, as I said earlier, because it is streaming. So it's hot. I don't want to run the AC because it's too expensive. You see those commercials for poor people that are they forget and they get up and it's a mess. But the song, a lot of great people were in that, and it's about something important, and I think I'm the strongest nut on the block, and I've been funky over the last few days. I'm being honest and being transparent. Like I'm the strongest chick that I know, and one of the ladies that just flagged on there, Sheila, like I called her and I just had a meltdown yesterday because of what's going on in the world. I need a break from what I see every day and everything getting pushed at me and people's opinions and agendas. And Rick Vamos, hello, Rick. I need a break, but you can't, because we got to promote this show and our businesses. And I don't have a 9-to-5 like other people do, where they can just not be on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And it gets, like I said, it gets exhausting. So. Yeah. What the hell was I ranting about all that? It's a good video. It's about mental health. It's for myself. I needed it. So thank you for even wanting to see it.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I think it's crucial. What you just said, Goldie, is so important, because we also need a shoulder, in a sense, right? And we also need to release. It's important as a leader, leadership of self, to have the support network. And I love watching stupid movies, especially the movies with little animals that are cartoons. I can laugh and cry and it all gets out. It's just beautiful. It helps me every single time. My daughter loves it because I'll be like crying my heart out and nobody knows why, but it just had to come out. So it's like knowing how to release that stuff, or taking a walk or something like that is really important. And I also think, like, for the last 2 months, I haven't watched news. Oh. And, I'm a historian by trade, so I still sort of need to know what's going on, but I haven't watched any news, because normally I watch like news from like 5 different channels and all of that to really get somewhat of an idea. I haven't done that. And that has helped me. I did that a few years ago as well, when I was like really on hunt for myself, in a sense. I just shut all that off. And so that helped me. And it relates to part of what Jeremy was saying earlier, that people have gotten so mean and they can get away with it. It's like nobody stands up, but it's also, it's social media. We all use it because we sort of have to at this point. However, what is real on social media? Just because somebody is in front of a Porsche, do they really own that Porsche? I'm sorry to put that out there, but do they really own that Porsche, or did they borrow it, or is they just in front of the Porsche store, right? So you don't know anymore. And therefore, people have learned the art of questioning with a good idea, not just to insult somebody, but it's so important that we realize this face-to-face, this is what is real. Everything else, Photoshop, right? So it's not real unless you talk to somebody. And most people, I think, have lost the art of understanding what real is. So when Goldie talks about driving with her car somewhere to help somebody, that's real. And she's not on the news featured for that. When Daniela is saying, I was in that, and everything that I'm doing has helped me help others, she's not now laying out, well, this is all in my book, please buy my, that's not what it's about. Right? Some people do that. And that's what both of you were referring to as well, right? There are people out there creating a story to sell you their stuff. Mm-hmm. That's not what leadership is about. Leadership is about being real, being authentic, and Goldie walking the walk, right? Mm-hmm. And that means sometimes we make no money, sometimes we make a little money, and sometimes we're down and out and crying our hearts out. And that's fine. That's perfect.
But Natalie, don't you, I love that you said, one of the things that was in my head, even before all this started, was huge, being authentic. I think as we are don't you feel like maybe it opens the door or gives permission for other people? Because I think that when I was growing up, everything was so fake, and it's only gotten more so. But there's nothing like the freedom of being authentic in your own skin. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay too. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
being true to
but
yourself.
right, but that's what a leader's all about, right? You
I
have
agree.
to know who you are, and you have to. I always say you have to really love yourself and embrace yourself in all the aspects. There's a reason why there's yin and yang, black and white, and I don't like the black and white because that's a whole different story. But we all have all parts. We're not just the shining light. We all have done something that maybe we shouldn't have done. I remember when I was a child, that candy looked really good and I didn't have any money, but it's like, I mean, let's face it, we all have done something, right? But that doesn't mean that we're bad, but we have everything. And once you accept that, then you can lead. You can be a leader of self, and that's when you can be authentic. And it's like, it's about everybody else. So when somebody starts screaming at you, it's really not about me. Like, you can scream at me, that's fine. I guess you got some issues, right? I know it's not about me. And even saying that, I also want to acknowledge, the fact that sometimes we're down and out. And then we may be triggered by somebody screaming at us because we're like, hey, do you know what I've done all day? And now you're complaining about the beans not being cooked right? I mean, whatever it is, right? So, but it has to do with us being authentic, and that's the real leadership. I've had the privilege of growing up in a very authentic environment. And for me, coming to the United States was interesting. Talk about authentic versus not authentic. And I mean, at the store, I will never forget the first time at a U.S. American grocery store, the lady at the register asking me, "How are you?" And I went, "Oh, well, you're asking a German here, But that's not what she meant. So why ask, right?
What'd she mean?
Well, she didn't really want to know how I was doing. It was something that they say at the cash register, right?
Kind of like
How you doing today? How you doing today? It's like automated. But if somebody asks me how you doing, and I don't know that it's just a phrase. I mean, again, I'm German. I got a long story, and we're all depressed in Germany anyhow. So, bring it on. So, I'm joking at this point, but that's what it is, right? So that is in everyday life. Even our kids going to the store are faced with that right from the start. So they grow up in that environment. And of course, if you see something in the store, depending on who you are and you're trying to intervene, you might end up being accused versus what really happened. So there's all this stuff happening that is so unreal, and I think that's why we're here. I think that's why people like Goldie and Daniela and Jeremy are here to help move us back to a more humane society.
I think you bring up a lot of really good points there. I mean, one of the things that I've found in our culture in the United States especially is of course we want to be kind to people, but there is a lot of like that whole "how are you doing today?" and I agree with you. Why ask the question? It's like, if you don't really want to know, hey, today's not been really great. I've had a kind of a bad day, and I love the comment here. It says it's very brave to be authentic out of social media, and it's one of those things. I really want to see new thought speakers and teachers and leaders and spiritual teachers. I want to see them get up there and say, I had a crappy day today, and this is how I got through it, and this is how I got through it. It's one of those things where even with depression, like there's a lot of people out there that are suffering from depression, and there's a lot of people, even leaders out there and spiritual teachers out there that are suffering from depression. And I would love for them to step up and say, today I had a horrible day, and this is what got me through it. Because
I think that's a good point, and I think Goldie kind of alluded to that earlier.
Yeah.
Because when you said that, Goldie, I have to tell you again, thank you. Because the last couple of days the energy's been a little funky, and I've had to do a lot of self-care because I am busy working, and I refuse to work with clients unless I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really going deep and taking care of it, but it made me feel good because I'm like, is it New York? You know, because the energy in New York can be dense. So I really have to do a lot of self-care when I'm here.
And that's a good point. And Jeremy, you make a really great point. The half part of your point is, I don't mind hearing about your damn bad day, but I don't want to hear about it every day and every Debbie Downer. And what you said, Jeremy, is tell me you're having a bad day and then either ask for my help and mean it, not just wallow, or tell me how you got through it. You know, I had a really bad day and I live by this biker bar and people are out of their minds. And then, like I told you, the woman that just commented, she might even be still listening, but I called a friend and she listened and I felt validated and I felt better. And then maybe that inspires the other person listening to think, you know, I should call a friend the next time. Or like Dr. Forrest said, maybe I should watch a movie with animals, whatever they were doing that you were talking about, or go for a walk, or give a solution, give some sort of antidote, and don't just have a pity party, but give an antidote. Or, you know, like I like the second part of what you had to say, where you are transparent, but there's a resolve. Like I like the resolve. And I do have a lot of female friends that just want to bitch. Then tell me, I just need to vent. Like a couple of weight powerlifting guys that I hang out with, I'm like, I have permission to just vent. I need 2 minutes to call. I don't need to hear anything other than, and you know, they'll have some dude thing to say at the end of it, but at least I got it out. They know it's coming. And then some of my female friends, I'm like, okay, so your garbage disposal is broken and you're upset. There's a reset button. You can put the broom in. We can handle it. I can come over. No. They just want to complain about it. And I'm like, bitch, please. You know what I mean? Let's fix it. And they don't. That's where I just get frustrated and think I'm not being a very good leader here, because I'm done. I didn't do the self-care like Daniela did. And I get a little down on that, and then I just let it go and think, you know what? Move on. Like Dr. Forrest lives in the forest. I don't know what freaking fairy tale land you live in the world. Like you're always in a good mood and things are always.
No, I'm not.
No, you are. That's just you. And like you're like my mom. She saw the world through these glasses, and she was beautiful. And I did you hear that one?
That was good.
I thought that was my house.
That was 3237. We're writing these all down today. I'm going to make a whole compilation and send it to the mayor's office.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You're making me laugh, by the way. Are you very balanced? And what I mean by that is like, because I feel I have the feminine energy and the male. I'm a problem solver. So what you just said, I do to people, and I try to remember if it's a woman talking to me, like especially my daughter, she doesn't want me to fix it. She doesn't want me to fix it. She wants to be heard. But I like to solve things. And it sounds like you too. Let's get to garbage disposal fix. Like I'm the same way. Like let's just deal with this and get it behind us.
And you know what? People need to have a little dude dosed on them, you know, balanced or not. No, they need that. Chicks need that. They need to learn that sometimes your dude, when he comes home, doesn't want to hear about all of that stuff. Like fix it yourself. Or look what this is on, empowered women. All right, well then be empowered. If you want to be so empowered and you want your equal pay and you want to not have Me Too all over your board, then step up. And again, step up. Learn how to do something. There's a thing called YouTube. Maybe you've heard of it.
We're on YouTube right now.
Don't go to your guy with bullshit. You don't need to have him fix weather stripping and seal off the caulking you can do stuff. And that's where I and you know what? A lot of those a lot of the women who aren't balanced, Daniela, they do fall off whether I want them to or not, because there's just a lot to do these days, and there's a lot of people to help, and we know a lot of folks, and it just time for the petty stuff is got. You got to stop that stuff.
I know you, Goldie. I want to help those that want to help themselves.
For sure.
But you need to pick up the tools and do something with it. I'm not going to do you.
Sure, but I love when you come over to somebody's house, you help fix them or clean it up, and you come back in a month, and it's like, all right, now what else can I help you with? Like, you didn't mess it up, or you didn't break it, or destroy what I did, or you teach somebody something. Or my bandmate Serge, I'll show him something and he implements it. That's the true thank you. You don't even need to say anything.
I agree.
Implement what I took my time to teach you to do, because if I took my time, then I care about you and I care about fixing something, and the whole something about give them a fish and then you feed them for days, or seeing a shadow. I don't know, some holiday, or Jesus comes out of the hole and sees his shadow. I don't know. Something about that.
I don't know
what I'm talking about. Like, help the people learn how to do it.
I don't know why this conversation is reminding me of Daniela. Daniela has a saying that is my favorite saying of hers that I use all the time. And it goes like this: no more bitches and no more assholes. Meaning, people out there, you don't have to put up with people hurting you, pushing you around, that kind of stuff. And by the way, you don't have to be somebody's venting post if they're not going to do something about it. Right. And I know she cringed when I said that, but that's like one of my favorite
things.
I
know what I was going to say. I just got tired of people like not doing the right thing. And even if they're clients, I don't want to work with those clients. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a waste of everyone's time. If you're not going to help yourself, because I honestly don't feel we're here to rescue anyone. I like to empower people, and I'm not going to carry you. I'll give you the ring. I'll throw it in the water for you, and you need to grab it and swim to shore. I'm not jumping in the water. That's a lesson I needed to learn, though. And I'm sure probably you ladies did too. We love people, right? We want to help, but come on.
Well, yeah, I think many of us have, what we lovingly refer to as the savior syndrome, right? Which is, we're trying to help them get better and all of that. I think the one thing that I agree with you, Daniela and Goldie, that I don't want to work with somebody who's not ready. However, I also know that, and you ladies do too, that everybody has their own path.
Oh, absolutely.
So just because you're not ready now, I'm not going to judge you on it. You didn't take my advice. That's okay. So next time I won't give you any. That's perfectly fine by me. I haven't lost anything. I did what I did, and it's your decision, right? So I think that that's really crucial for me, that they're on their path, right? Now, the other thing is, Goldie, I also know a lot of guys who just complain. Oh. And I'm with you. It's like, okay, you've now complained for 4 days in a row on this stuff. Now you're going to do something or not? If not, then that's it.
It's not even I want to hear it. It's a pussy.
Well, it doesn't matter who, whether it's guy or girl or whoever. I'm like, no, you've said this 3 times. And you told me, maybe you just also said you just want to vent. That's fine. So you vented 3 times. Now I don't want to hear it anymore. You're going to vent every day. You're going to get upset at every day. Perfect. That's your choice. I've listened 3 times. I'm done.
That's a boundary. That's boundaries too. I just had to do that recently too. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, because of your own personal sanity. Yes. And also that personal sanity is there so I can also be sane to help other people.
Exactly.
And so it's like, because you don't want to pull on somebody else's energy. I guess
I think that's what I was talking more about, is like, I hate to use the catchphrases, so I'm trying to avoid them. I have no problem with, because it's not my life,
Right.
It's your life. What I do have a problem with is, I think Goldie and I may be more on the same page with this. I don't want to hear you. Don't play the victim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's just...
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a story, but it's a safe story, right? If I'm always the victim
anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I'm always the victim, so it's everybody else's fault. It's not accountable. It's not responsible. Life is happening to me, and I'm just sitting here wondering, why me? Why me? And that story just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, good for you. Change the story, or see you later. I'm absolutely with you, ladies, because that also is, energy vampires, right?
That's what
It's
I'm
like, how
saying.
often can you do it?
What's
It's like,
another word?
yeah, but it's true. It's like
It's true.
you call somebody up and all they do is talk the whole time and want your advice and 3 hours later you're like, okay, what? You know, can I just pick your brain? No, brain's mine. It has to stay in there, you know. So
I think I would just throw this last question out to kind of wrap up the show tonight. Is that, and I'll start off with Goldie. Is that what are some last minute wisdom that you would leave ladies and men that are listening to be able to be a leader, or to be a leader even for just for themselves?
I'd like to say something, and that I was going to say anyway, and I'll just make it into this answer. And that is, the last couple of days have been just really off and funky. And I've been depressed thinking of what's going through my mind, because it's not what's meant to be in there. It's been negative, and this is something that works for me. And I offer that to people, whatever position they are, and that is to pray. And when I say to pray, not just, oh, pray for me. No. And I don't ask people to pray for me. I pray for other people. And once in a while, I will say what I did this morning. And that is, God, would you please help me change what's going on in my mind? Like, just start it over, reset it. Just please put something, I'm asking you, Heavenly Father, whatever you believe in, please just put something in my mind to counter correct a lot of negativity that's been going on. So I ask for help, and sometimes it is from my higher power to help change the frequency. Like, don't just pray and say, I want to win the lottery, or I want this to be. Pray that you are fixed from within. Like what Daniela said, I've been doing self-care. Like, pray for the grace and the strength for that. And just say, please, God, would you put something positive in my mind right now? Please, can you bring call upon a memory or a fragrance or a sound or a song or something to change this? I'm going down the same negative pathway and then I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking the only reason I'm writing down the motorcycle thing is because I'm having lunch with them tomorrow. Otherwise I wouldn't be that negative, but that's just a task that needs to be done. And she said, mark down, and here I am. But pray for like just a shift and a change so that you can just be better equipped that day. So, I mean, that's my advice. Like, because there isn't always a Daniela or a Dr. Forrest or a Jeremy to call up, because they might just be tapped out from somebody else sucking all their energy. And sometimes you are wearing your own red shoes. Click your heels together and figure out if you don't have a support system that day, which a lot of people listening and watching do not. You know, look for a higher answer and ask to be inspired.
Thank you so much. And Daniela, what would be last minute advice that you would give ladies and men?
It's funny because I am doing what Goldie said because of the negative thoughts, and I don't want to go down that road. There's a couple of things that I do. I work closely with Archangel Metatron, and I've actually been working on myself as if I am the client, because I need that much help lately because of the things that are going on. So I'll clear my energy, and I'll say, thank you, God, Creator Source, Archangel Metatron, for surrounding and infusing me with your light. Thank you for clearing, cleansing, healing, open up and balancing all my chakras. And I'll like see the negativity go out. That's just one of the exercises, but I also cut cords because it's constant. Like, it just seems the energy that we're living in, it's constant. So, I mean, it's almost like I'm a little druggy or something. Instead of drugs, I'm doing the prayers. I'm listening to the frequencies. I'm taking the salt baths. You know what I mean? But one thing that they taught me lately, and I feel like the last maybe 3 weeks, I've been using this, my angel true sarcasm or higher self, whatever, right? The energy, being in the flow. They showed me 2 big, like, sarcastic buttons. One's red and one's green. And when I go down these negative lanes, because believe me, I was the victim. You would have met me like 30 years ago, whatever. I wasn't. That's why I was smiling, because I'm like, yeah, I remember that. So when I'm thinking of something, they'll call me out on it. And they're like, does that make you feel good or bad? They're making me very aware of what my thoughts are. And it basically, then don't think about that. Choose another thought. Like you said, the fragrance, the sunset. I was staring at a tree today with the sun on it, you know, and I'm like, that makes me really happy. The little things. bring whatever you can find. I guess that's our little ring somebody's throwing to us. And I will ask God and the angels, God, creator, source, whatever word you want to use. I ask for a lot of help. I do. Because a lot of times, I don't know if it's pride or people are busy or people's plates are too full, but it's so much easier for me to go above it and ask for help. But believe me, I called Jeremy up. I'm like, I'm not in a good place here. I need, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Vice versa.
thank you all. It was a pleasure meeting you, beautiful women. I really wish we were physically in one place.
Me too.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually one day. Dr. Forrest, any last minute wisdom that you would like
Well,
them?
I really agree with both Goldie and Daniela. Asking for help from whatever source you're connected to is really, really crucial. Whether it's Heavenly Mother, Father God, whether it's Michael, whether it's the spirit guides that I always have around me and that I consistently talk to. It's also, I think both of you mentioned it, it's being aware that when that thought comes up, addressing it right away. And I do that in two ways, other than, the Reiki and all of that. I ask myself a question, and it's the same one that I ask all my clients is, how's that working for you?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's doubt coming in, I go like, well, how's that working for you right now? Because that stuff is in your mind. You're not getting done what you want to get done. And in 10 minutes, you got to go and drive and pick up your daughter. So how is that working for you right now? Because now you're really, really, you're not good, not good. So I ask myself that question. And the other thing is that I start looking around where I'm at, and I find positive things that I'm grateful for. So, I might look around and I say, oh, my cat's sleeping over here. Oh, she's in my room. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I remember the fake flower that somebody gave me. So I intentionally do that. Plus, the third thing that I didn't mention before is I usually have, when I'm in those moods or when I need to focus, I have meditation music on. Always. I mean, when I'm on this computer, other than for a show, there's usually some kind. You should see my YouTube stream. I mean, it's not even funny anymore, right? But it's like that music that is just calming and that gets the brain waves going a certain way. That helps me a lot.
I do that a lot.
That's great.
Myself.
Thank you. How about you, Jeremy? Before you go, what do you do?
I would probably say one of the same things is that I have constant meditation music even when I'm working during the day, unless I'm directly have to listen to something other than that, or I'm speaking like we are right now. I generally have that going. And one of the things that Daniela has even got me back into is that I live like 10 minutes from a beach, and I live in Florida, and water, or even the river, lakes, it doesn't matter, calms me. Being out in nature calms me. And if I have I try even like to take a lunch, and I'll go down to the river here and where I live and sit there for like 20 minutes, because what it does is it clears the mind. Nature clears the mind. And then there's a whole bunch of other reasons physically why we should do that, but we have so much going on in our lives that you have to take some time for yourself, even if it's 15 to 20 minutes a day. I'll even go out and sit by the swimming pool and sit out there and be out there, because it's just one of those things where if you clear your mind, I can guarantee you in your work and with your kids and with your school or whatever it is you're doing, your mind will be cleared enough to where you'll be a lot more effective in life as well. And so there's just a lot of things we could talk about taking time for yourself and finding that space for you. And just do it. And one of those things, and Goldie, I'm gonna have to try go into the gym for 3 minutes and taking a selfie, because I've been trying to go to the gym, and it's more like, it's not the selfie part, it's just that when I get off the treadmill after 10 minutes and I feel like I just died, it's one of those things where I'm like, boy, I really got myself out of shape now.
I totally feel you. I think it's funny that you're all saying I listen to meditating music. and I like meditating music again and all of this stuff. And like one of the things that's been contributing to my horrible mood is I have this beautiful sanctuary creating place. I live in an old hospital that I renovated. Every room is dedicated to creating. And then this little mom and pop shop, the guy got sick and they opened a bar that was not supposed to serve hard liquor. And they're just totally, I don't know how they're still open, but like, I'm not even kidding you guys, like 24/7, there are just 200, the capacity is 54. There's 200, 250, like really not your normal biker, but like just the muffin top, middle-aged, white trash convention. The noise knocks my picture frames off, and it's just like, I'm trying my best, you guys. I'm trying so hard to just like, I'm gonna ignore it. And it's so freaking loud. And I'm thinking, no, you're just a bitch. You should just let people drive through the, you know, whatever. They're doing crazy stuff over there. And then you say, every one of you has something, I like to be calm. And I'm like, so I don't feel like a weirdo. Thank you for not making me feel weird that this is not normal. What's going on?
No.
Now, the noise is really hard, Goldie. Do you know what I mean? It jars us out, right? If you're meditating, you're trying
Girl,
to chill.
they're going like 90, like, and it's and
Wow.
there's kids out
That's
playing.
hard.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about my
I'm
personal problems.
sorry.
Thank
Well,
you for
I
talking
wouldn't-
about.
Comes to you, all
I'll
right?
just throw this final story out there. It's not quite as bad as what you're going through. It's not even close, but
You're right.
Daniela and I were filming the very first show for this show back in January for the LA Tribune. And this back here is really a French door that goes out into the street. So we're talking about living in the now of the moment, and all of a sudden this motorcycle goes by, and I'm like, really? Like, guess I'm gonna have to put the sound pad that French door. No, it's one of the ones like, but that happens a lot. I'll be on the session with somebody and some car will drive by. I'm like, there's kids that are on the street. Why are you driving so fast? And
So fast. So
Yeah.
fast, so loud. And like I said, it's a bunch of middle-aged guys that literally rev out at like 7 or 8 of them at the stop sign. And I'm like, does that make your, you know what, hard? Or like, what is that?
That's
It's
their
all
power.
day, you
That's
guys.
their
It's
power.
all day.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, the space with the hospital sounds incredible, and that just sounds.
It is. And I know that the tide will turn and things will change. And I joke about it, and I know things will change. And that's the beauty about life, is it's always evolving. It's always changing. Hold out for what you believe in, because it'll come around, and then it'll come around again. And that's the take home is to just all this funky stuff. And Daniela, like what you're going through, that's just a moment in time, and it will cease, and it will change, and it'll turn into something else. And to attribute to what Jeremy was saying, do you think all of the time that you've spent over the last 10, 15 years, like that really does make you tough, and it does condition you, and you're able to handle a lot more things in a different palette than other people are. So find some solace and comfort in that you're able to do that. That's a big deal. You should be very proud of that, all 3 of you.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you.
Thank
I just
you.
want-
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming on the show. And everybody, I know this is a little bit longer of a show than normal, but I just thought it was very important to continue on. In the description of the show is all 3 of these ladies' websites. So go check out their work. They have some incredible work. And, since this show will be on the Los Angeles Tribune, Dr. Forrest, correct me if I'm wrong, LA Tribune TV, Roku TV, probably the next couple days. It'll be on demand there. So, and everybody have an incredible week, and I'll see you back next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Much love.
Thank you, beautiful.
Thank
Get to the
you.
gym, Jeremy. Get to the gym,
Thank you,
Jeremy.
Chair.
Go to nature. Go